What to do with your tax refund during an inflation crisis. That's what I'm talking about today. According to the IRS, the average refund check in 2021 was about $2,800. Not bad. So how big is your tax refund this year, and how far can you stretch it? Especially with inflation topping out at 7.9% in February this year, a new 40-year high. By the end of this video, you'll know the top 7 things you should be doing with your tax refund during these times of high inflation and uncertainty. Now, the first 5 of these top 7 tax refund tips assume that you already have at least a fully funded emergency fund and no bad debt. Think credit cards, personal loans, and so on. If this isn't you, feel free to skip ahead to our emergency fund and debt repayment refund tips later on in the video. Tax refund tip number 1, put it towards retirement. Putting some or all of your tax refund towards retirement savings is one of the best things you can do with your tax refund, either via Roth or traditional IRA. If you qualify for a Roth IRA, that would be the preferred option though, generally speaking. With a Roth, you're putting in after-tax dollars. So all the money that grows in your Roth is tax-free. And when you withdraw that Roth money in retirement, it's also completely tax-free. The retirement stats in America are pretty scary. Based on data from several major government agencies, a comfortable retirement in the United States costs approximately $1.1 million. And yet, the median retirement savings balance is a meager $120,000 for those between the ages of 55 and 64, according to audit giant PricewaterhouseCoopers. That's a nearly $1 million retirement savings gap. Don't let that be you. So say that you're 25 years old right now. If you put in an extra $500 of your tax refund every year into your Roth IRA until you retire at age 65, you would have put in an additional $20,000 of contributions over a 40-year period. And that additional $20,000 of contributions, it would have grown to nearly $100,000 over that same time period. This assumes a reasonable average annual inflation-adjusted market rate of return of 7%. That's typical of the S&P 500's historical performance. I've taken this table out a bit further to show you what an extra $500 from your tax refund put annually towards retirement would grow to by age 65, depending on what age you start doing this at. Here's how much you would contribute in total from your starting age to age 65. And here's how much those additional contributions would grow to by the time you turn 65. The beauty of compound interest and the stock market in the long term. And if you were to put in an extra $1,000 annually from your tax refund, these additional amounts would double. Do keep in mind that your annual Roth IRA contribution is limited to $6,000 if you're under 50, or $7,000 if you're 50 and older. There are also certain income restrictions for a Roth, so you'll need to see if you even qualify if you don't have one set up already. Take a look at our tax-free millionaire video for more Roth details, limitations, and restrictions. I've included the link to it below this video. Tax refund tip number 2, top up your health savings account, your HSA. Healthcare is one of the largest expenses in retirement because let's face it, for most of us, the older we get, the less healthy we get. According to brokerage behemoth Fidelity, an average retired couple aged 65 in 2021 may need approximately $300,000 saved after tax to cover healthcare expenses in retirement. And that's why you should consider putting some of those extra tax refund dollars towards your health savings account, towards your HSA, if this is an option available to you. Think of an HSA as a medical IRA that's triple tax advantaged. You're not taxed when you put money into your HSA. You're not taxed on the money that grows in your HSA. And you're not taxed when you take money out of your HSA to pay for qualified medical expenses, both now and in the future. Basically, you don't pay any taxes at all on your HSA money, again, as long as you use the funds for qualified medical expenses. And according to the IRS, Qualified medical expenses include everything from doctor and specialist fees to prescription drugs, false teeth, contact lenses, and even transportation to and from medical facilities. Let's assume that you're single and contributing $3,650 every year towards your HSA. That's the 2022 annual HSA contribution limit for a single person. So that's this monthly contribution here of $304. Here's what you would have in your HSA by the time you turn 65. If you started doing this at age 25, if you started doing this at age 35, and if you started doing this at age 45. That's a nice chunk of change to cover healthcare costs in retirement, especially as healthcare costs continue to rise over time. So, contributing to an HSA, that's a very, very good use of your tax refund money. Now, you do need an eligible high-deductible health plan, an HDHP, to qualify for an HSA. For more details on HSAs, HDHPs, and the questions you need to ask yourself to figure out whether an HDHP might be a good choice for you, check out this HSA Millionaire video as well as our top-ranking HDHP versus PPO video on the channel. As before, links to the videos are below. Tax refund tip number 3. Invest in life insurance and protect those you love. Your income is your most important asset. Imagine if you suddenly got sick or injured and couldn't work anymore. How long would your savings last you? Or even worse, imagine if you passed away unexpectedly. What would happen to the people around you who count on your income for financial security and support? And that's where life insurance, disability insurance, and long-term care insurance come in. The thing about insurance is, the younger you are, the less it will cost you. That's because the younger you are, the healthier you are. Insurance is no fun to talk about, but avoiding the topic just means that you're leaving your loved ones unprotected and your most important asset, your income, exposed. And if you're relatively young or just starting out with little financial assets to your name, life insurance is the only way for you to create an instant estate and build generational wealth for those that matter most to you. Our insurance videos here will walk you through everything you need to know, or drop me a note at jennifer@diamondnestegg.com to see if I can customize an insurance policy that best suits you and your family. Tax refund tip number 4, save for big expenses. If you've already got your retirement account, HSA, and life insurance bases covered, use your tax refund to give your big savings goals a boost. Make a list of any large expenses you might have coming up, either later this year or even further down the road, say in 2023 or 2024. For example, are you thinking of that big vacation to Europe, Asia, or the Caribbean? Looking to buy a new home or renovate an existing one? Or perhaps you want to start saving for your children's education or even your own, grad school maybe. Throw some of your tax money towards whatever your big savings goals are. Best practice is to keep separate savings accounts for each goal. For example, we have one for our property taxes, one for our children's college savings, and so on. Tax refund tip number 5. Consider parking your excess cash in Ibons. Assuming you've got tax refund tips 1 through 4 covered already, you've maxed out your annual retirement and HSA contributions, you have enough life insurance to protect those you love, and you're already saving towards those big goals. What then? Well, then you have to ask yourself, do you need that tax refund money in the next 12 months? Or take it one step further, those big goals that you've stashed cash away for. How much of that cash do you really need this year? And how much is just extra, nice to have hanging around? Any cash sitting in a savings account right now, you do not need for the next 12 months. Consider putting it into Ibons. Ibons are 30-year term inflation-linked government savings bonds. It doesn't get much safer than that. And they're yielding 7.12% right now, with a likely increase coming at the next IBON adjustment period in May, given where inflation seems to be headed at the moment. So make sure you check out our IBON video tutorial for step-by-step buying instructions and other details, concerns, and restrictions. As before, I've linked the video in the description below as well. As I always say though, everyone's financial journey is different. I don't know your specific situation. So if you're interested in seeing whether we can help inflation-proof your excess cash, drop me a note at jennifer@diamondnestegg.com. Tax refund tip number 6, pay off your bad debt. Whether it's credit cards, personal loans, or student loans, paying interest to your lenders, and in particular, high interest lenders like credit card companies, will put a dent in your savings and drag down your financial journey. You may not be able to wipe out all your debt balances in one go, but every little bit you put towards your debt counts. And the sooner you pay off your bad debt, the quicker you'll be able to start building your wealth by doing everything I talked about earlier in this video, like stashing money away towards your retirement, HSA, life insurance, and other life goals. Also, keep in mind the Federal Reserve has committed to raising interest rates this year to combat inflation. This means that any payments that you're making on your outstanding variable rate debt will go up in the coming months. So don't delay paying off your debt any further. And if you have a significant amount of high interest credit card debt and or variable rate debt outstanding, be sure to check out the debt and inflation videos I've linked below to figure out the best payoff and refinancing options for you during these inflationary times. Tax refund tip number 7, boost up your emergency fund. Having an emergency fund to cover those unexpected emergencies like a sudden job loss, accident, or home repair is one of the fundamental pillars of financial success. An emergency fund keeps you from reaching for those credit cards at the time when you need money the most. It keeps you from becoming poorer. So if you don't have a fully funded emergency fund, then now's the time to top it up with your tax refund money. The bare minimum you should have in your emergency savings is enough to cover the following costs for 1 month: rent or mortgage, utilities, transportation, basic groceries, basic clothing, and minimum insurance and debt payments. Once you have a 1-month emergency fund, consider putting any leftover tax refund money towards paying off debt. And if you don't have any outstanding debt, then you can go ahead with tax refund tips 1 through 5, or you could build out your emergency fund even more. Check out this video here for the 6 questions that you should ask yourself to figure out whether you should aim for a 3 or 6-month emergency fund. These are the same 6 questions that I asked my one-on-one clients in our first financial coaching sessions to help them figure out how much they should have in their emergency savings fund. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and drop me a note here if you're interested in working together and reaching your financial goals quicker than you would be able to do on your own. See you next week with another money saving, wealth building video.